So today we're here to answer the age-old question of which is better, the FreeSync, specifically FreeSync Premium or G-Sync. And there's no better way to test out which is better than using the LG32GN50T, and let me tell you why. This guy is a 165 Hertz, 1 millisecond response time, FreeSync Premium, G-Sync compatible monitor. It's 1920 by 1080p, HDR 10-bit compatible, and we're gonna unbox this bad boy and test the two side by side with my RTX 3090 and RX 5700 XT. Ooh, that was a good, I'll slow that down a bit. We can take a look at that. You know, man, hey, check this out. Fidelity is great, motion capability is great. I'll do a little slow-mo here so you guys can check that out and I'll break it down. And then we'll get into the NVIDIA G-Sync capability using the RTX 3090. I won't make this video too long, but again, I am just shocked at this capability at the moment. And I'm not sure which one's gonna be better. Here, you guys, with motion capability on just the standard refresh rate V-Sync, variable sync, and I'm getting 88 frames per second in game, you guys. 88 to 100. Again, I'm maxed out on settings here. Yeah, I feel like this gameplay is not as good on this monitor as the FreeSync Premium. Well, it's no secret that I've been making tons of videos about gaming monitors on the channel, tons of playlists over the last 3 months. I don't think I've done anything else besides gaming monitor videos. And hey, Gunner, I want to ask your opinion, man. What do you think? Is TN just outdated and you shouldn't be buying it anymore? Is VA better? And is IPS low enough cost to be able to just say TN, let's throw it out the window?
Hey Travis, thanks for having me on. If TN is outdated and if you should be buying it, I'd say for the most part, yes. For a long time, ultra high refresh rate monitors such as 240 Hz and above were exclusively found on TN panels. Nowadays, that's just simply not the case. If we look at some of the highest refresh rate monitors available on the market, the Acer Nitro XV252Q, which is the highest refresh rate monitor available to the consumers, which is 390 Hz, that monitor is actually using an IPS panel types. TN panels have the highest refresh rate for the lowest costs, but suffer from terrible viewing angles. VA panels have a wide range of pricing, going from extremely cheap to very, very expensive, and they do have the best contrast of any monitor, and they do offer very unique variants such as the curved 16:9 aspect ratio I had mentioned earlier. However, they do suffer from black smearing and sometimes crushed blacks, as I mentioned before. Now, IPS panels have by far the best color reproduction and response times for the money and are often used by professional gamers along with creative professionals, but they have generally low contrast and something called IPS glow.
Don't take my word for it. I mean, hey Gunner, does high refresh rate really make that big of a difference for you in the sense that you'll spend more and you'll sacrifice quality? Do you feel like you have to sacrifice quality with these guys? What do you think, man?
If you're into story games and only want the best possible graphics, definitely go for a 4K 60 Hz monitor or 4K 120 Hz if you can afford it, given you have a Series S or X or a decent PC, and roll into the sunset of immersion.
All right, hey you guys, welcome to today's video. We have a lot to cover in a fantastic monitor, in my opinion, that we're gonna be talking about. And of course, it is the Acer Nitro XV271Z. And this guy packs a punch, let me tell you. It's 280 Hertz of pure goodness and buttery smooth motion. So we're gonna be breaking down all of the internals, the hardware, the performance, and everything you need to know before you buy this monitor in today's video. First, I went into user and then I maxed out the brightness and set the contrast to 53, the black boost to 5, and then something that I noticed was without max brightness on, it was actually very low contrast. And with this being a 400 peak nit brightness monitor, it should have a great contrast level and great brightness. But going through the different presets, there's quite a few, there's 8 of them. And the only one I could find that came close to the user settings that I had was HDR performance, which of course is going to change around some of the settings that I have internally as far as pixel response rate and VRR technology. I tested it out a little bit on this display, not a lot, but I don't believe in these sort of settings all the way. Maybe there's a scenario where they make sense, but I've never found one. So just leave that VRB off and I think you'll be happy, because they were getting smoked and they couldn't hang. So what did we decide to do? Me and the other guy decided to push the team that keeps taking us out. And we know there's 2 guys in this building here just creeping around. We can hear them and we know they went there. So we start tracking them down, and as I turn the corner to the door here, one of their guys is just walking by, doesn't notice me. And as I stop and I pause on this guy, his character is perfect. And I'm moving fairly quick, but I'm able to aim right onto him. And even as he jumps around, I can see him perfectly. And of course, as I'm wearing my headset, I hear his opponent in the other room. So quickly, I deploy my thermite just to block his buddy from coming out that same door and hitting me from behind as I go around the corner. But instead, he comes up behind me where my buddy's at. So I figured I've got good defense here, and I do. But as I aim down sights, I'm turning rapidly. I mean, this is a 180-degree turn in a fraction of a second, and I'm able to walk onto that target, see him down sights, and quickly make my move even though I get down. It's for me. Even though I love this thing and I would like to keep it, I'm probably not going to, because it doesn't beat out the GP83 for cost versus value. So of course, one of the biggest reasons you want to get this monitor is to be able to utilize the full potential of that 4K resolution and the buttery smooth 144 Hertz, 1 millisecond response rate for games like the one I have coming up, which is the Metro Exodus Enhanced RTX version. But it brings that darkness down quite a bit. And this is where the HDR calibration actually benefits you a bit, because you can turn up the brightness and contrast here, which gave me some good capability of pulling out those dark areas and getting just a more vibrant full color. And that's where I think this monitor excels, is there is a difference in HDR. And if you calibrate it correctly, you're actually gonna get some awesome benefits. Overall though, for Metro Exodus Enhanced, like, this is probably my favorite monitor that I've used so far because of that HDR feature, at least within reason and factoring in price. A lot of screen with that 1500R curve and the 165 Hertz, 1 millisecond response time. It's an AMD FreeSync Premium console ready ELMB gaming monitor, and let me tell you, this guy's a beast, and that's why it ended up number 2 on the list today. The lighting panel doesn't really keep up with some of the games that I played. It gets a little washed out from time to time. It's not so bad that you really can't stand it, but if you're picky in that area and you want to have the most accurate display as far as not getting washed out, you know, or kind of over enhancing some images, then this may not be the monitor for you. But it really does stack up well. It's a great addition to the Tough Gaming lineup. I was thoroughly impressed. And, you know, hey, for content, it was a beast, let me tell you. Or is some sort of black level adjustment that you have. More than likely, it will not be found in your contrast or your brightness, although those things will help mitigate it. It's usually in that black level adjustment. So go see if you have that first, like I did within my settings. You can kind of see that as I kind of move that black level slider around, what happens is that background doesn't become as hazy. The actual lighting in the back by itself is not too bright, but I can adjust it perfectly. And then I can go in and fine tune the sharpness. I can fine tune the contrast so that I'm not blowing out the white text or whatever image it is that is causing that blooming effect. I'm not blowing it out, but those can typically be found in contrast, in sharpness, and in your black level adjustment. So there are literally 1,000 reasons why I waited to actually review this monitor, and one of the biggest reasons, of course, as you guys know, is supply chain issues. I shouldn't say any more about that because it's probably frustrating to everybody, but during the Black Friday holiday, this Samsung G70A was available and the price was fantastic at $649. But I am glad I waited because there are some things that didn't quite sit right with me when I first unboxed this guy. It actually comes in a little bit above both the Gigabyte M28U that we reviewed in the past, and of course the Acer Nitro with their Agile Splendor. And I will say that with the local dimming off, the gray uniformity was pretty rock solid, but with that local dimming on, it did seem to obscure that gray uniformity just a little bit. Now there are some menu features within this monitor that I absolutely love, but I have to tell you, if you bought this monitor or if you're going to buy this monitor, there is an update process you need to do out of the box, and that will require that you flash a USB drive and plug it into the back of the monitor and do the software update within the menus. Now, getting into the actual menus of the monitor itself, it has some pretty good features built in. There are some downsides though. Now, it has your standard menu options like you would find on most monitors. The one issue I did run into though is when adaptive sync is on, it becomes problematic. It locks down menus such as your pixel overdrive and other settings within the menu itself.